Today, stream and YouTube, what we're going to be doing is going over the biggest hits of 2022 so far. We're about halfway through the year, so I felt like it'd be a good idea to do this. I'll be doing it again at the end of the year once we have all of the big #1 singles and all of that for the year. But for now, we're going to do the top 10 or so. I think it's 12 tracks that I chose. One song from each artist. So, if there's multiple big hits for an artist, I just chose the biggest one. First big hit, this is January. First massive hit of the year is this one. It's crazy how big the song was. Yeah, that was my first time listening to the song in full outside of the context of hearing it in the movie. And while I do think it's a fine musical theater song, I don't think it really has any business being a massive hit like this. There's no real structure to it that I think, aids itself well to a hit. But, I mean, by all means, it was a hit. So we don't talk about Bruno. All right, let's do it. I think I'm going to put it in like the C tier. There's just better songs in the movie and in the soundtrack, and there's just better Disney songs out there. So I'm just not that crazy about this one. I'm not 100% sure if I understand why it's such a massive hit, but I'm going to put it in the C tier.
Pushin P.
We were only really pushing P for like a week and a half. I just can't listen. As much as I like the meme of this track being popular, and I actually do like the beat enough, I feel like this song is just a lot of nothing. It's funny that it exists, but it's a lot of nothing. There's no charisma in the vocals whatsoever. It's a funny song that, feels somewhat intentionally funny, somewhat not. I have no idea what to make of this track, honestly. I guess I can kind of see the appeal, but if I'm going to listen to a song like this, I'd rather listen to one with like an actually catchy melody. I find the existence of the song so funny, but I really can't justify putting it any higher than C tier. So I'm just going to put Pushin P in C tier. If you like the song, I guess I get it, but I'd be lying if I said that I liked this past the point of a meme. Well, I could definitely go the rest of my life without hearing that song in full ever again. I don't know. This song's crimes aren't so like egregious that I feel like I have to put it in like F tier, like I need to make it F tier for this song, because what it really does wrong is that it sounds so painfully generic. And I don't know, there's something about the energy from the lyrics and this song in general that just gives me like the most surface level bad bitch vibes, and just really clearly going for something that, I don't know, makes it feel really, really forced to me. The lyrics are just terrible. I'm sorry. I just cannot stand the concept of this song. Like, the concept of the chorus is just, it's so bad. This is the song that like a random teenager is going to put in their playlist entitled "Songs That Make Me Feel Like a Villain." Is it bad? Yes, 100%. But is it bad for the reasons that the song is like truly awful? Nah, I think it's more so bad for the reasons that it's something that we've heard a million times before, and there's just really nothing to this song. And the lyrics are pretty weak. So I'm going to put it in C tier. I know some people are going to think that it belongs lower than that, but it's just, it's low C tier for me.
Be a fantasy. I can tell you got big D energy.
It's a catchy track for the most part, but I feel like, god damn, that sample gets annoying after a little bit. Like, the sample's fine, but I don't think it needed to be used quite that much. It's good, but rides the sample way too much. Yeah, I entirely agree. It's just, it's a little much after a while. Like, how many times do I need to hear that loop? But beyond that, it's a pretty decent hit, I guess. Nothing too crazy, but I like it overall, especially relative to the other songs that we've heard on here. Let's put it in the B tier. I don't think it's a great track. I also don't think it's a bad song, so I wouldn't mind listening to it if it came on the radio or something like that. I wouldn't rush to turn it off or anything like that. But yeah, it relies a little bit too much on that sample, and the melody could be a little bit better, but overall, solid single.
Emotions ready to go whenever you let me know. The road is long, so put the pedal into the flow.
Well, it's definitely an Imagine Dragons song, but not a terrible one. It comes from the show Arcane, and I feel like it's a great series, so a lot of people kind of have a fond memory of this track, you know, relating it to the series, which makes sense. But the way I feel about the song is that it's actually not that bad, and I have to phrase it that way because it is still Imagine Dragons, but I don't think it's that bad at all. Like, every single time when watching the series and this song came on, I wasn't like, oh my god, why did they pick Imagine Dragons? I did have that question a couple of times, but I don't think it's the worst thing ever or anything like that. I don't even think that it's like necessarily bad, which good for Imagine Dragons. I'd say easily the highlight of the song, though, is the JID verse. The JID verse is so solid. He always brings it. That guy never cuts corners with his verses. So relative to what we have in the C tier, I think I'm going to put it in the B tier. It's a little bit better than the Latto song, I think, honestly. But I just could not justify putting it in the A tier because it still has that like corporate sounding energy to it that just really bothers me. I still feel like JID did a great job with it, but the song itself, I couldn't ever imagine myself listening to, even for him. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. I don't even really like the song that much, but it's definitely going to be at least in B tier. Yeah, easily one of the most inoffensive songs of the year, and relative to everything else we've heard so far, this is probably the best track. You know, I've been critical of this song and the album that the song comes from because it sounds so much like a bunch of other music that bands put out in like the early 2010s and like late 2000s. It just is a song that is a product of a time that the song was not created. It is a product of Harry Styles being super into Walk the Moon and the Strokes, I guess. Certainly wears its influences on its sleeve, and there are a million better versions of this song. Doesn't mean that the song is bad, but I'm still not super crazy about it. That being said, I think I have to put this song in A tier. While I find it really bland, it's still going into the A tier relative to the rest of the songs on this list so far. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's a bad song. Like, I think it's just a disappointing song. People got their hopes up, and it is overplayed like crazy for the quality of the song that it is. I don't think it's a bad song. I think it capitalizes off of Glamorous a lot. I mean, I'm not saying anything groundbreaking here. I think everyone knows that. So I think I'm gonna put it in like the C tier. Man, the verses just leave a little bit too much to be desired for me. So I can't justify putting it in the B tier either. And that's the way, yeah, that's where I'm gonna put it. I know some people are gonna be like, oh my god, this has gotta be the F tier. And I know some people love this song. It did crazy numbers. So I think people are going to say that they like it. Probably not the people who follow me, but yeah. I don't think Jesus done it that way. You know, the song only did 1 week in the top 10, and I was like, okay, but listen, it's pretty big in the country world. Let me put it on this list. That's that. I put the country song on the list. Will, you always ignore country. You never do country in these lists. You just ignore it. You take it off. Bro, it's because the state of country right now, besides Chris Stapleton, is abysmal. Not an amazing track, but I liked the song when I heard the album, and I like the song now. It's not something that I thought I was going to go back to crazy often, and it wasn't, but for what it is and for it being one of the biggest hits on this album, I think it makes sense. I think that the Drake verse is solid. I don't think that Future really does anything super crazy on this song, but it's a pretty good showing from him as well. So don't have really that much bad to say about it. The Thames vocals are great too. So I'm going to put it in A tier. I'm put it in A tier. I think it's a pretty good song, and most of these songs are not. So I'm a fan. I think that there's definitely better Bad Bunny songs. It's got a pretty infectious energy to it, so I think it belongs pretty solidly in the B tier. The B tier seems like something I would not turn off on the radio. And then C tiers are songs that I probably would. Actually, my Bluetooth wasn't working in my car, and I turned on the radio and First Class was playing, and I was like, I just turned off the radio, and I was like, oh man, I thought I was really gonna like this song this summer, but turns out that's not the case.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up.
I wasn't super crazy about the song when I heard it the first time, but it's grown on me quite a bit because I've been forced to hear it because I am a human being on TikTok right now. And for what it is, I think it's a pretty good throwback track. I know everybody is throwing back to the 70s and 80s right now, but for what this song is and what it's trying to accomplish, I think it did. The bass line is killer. The vocal delivery is great. The lyrics are entertaining as hell. This is a good track. I'm happy with this one. I'm happy that we have a song on this list that I would actually listen to easily in the S tier for sure. So About Damn Time, S tier song, better than pretty much everything else on this list so far. So yeah, it's easily in the S tier. Chat clearly agrees with me. So let's call it there. It's in the S tier.
They stay, take off for the meal, hella value. Take off the far flag, take off perception, take off the cop with the iPad, take off.
Crazy beat, insane low end. The mixing on that track is amazing. Kendrick raps his ass off. Jesus Christ. What's not to like about that song? I mean, when people said that Kendrick didn't have a hit on his hands with this album, I think that they're wrong. This is a fucking amazing hit song. Super high quality. It's doing something actually interesting. Love the chords. Love the way it progresses. The bridge is great. Don't have anything bad to say about it. In 95, S tier, best song in this list by a pretty decent margin, honestly. I think it's a great track, and it's up here with About Damn Time. I think it's definitely better than About Damn Time, but I think they both belong in the S tier. Let me fix one thing. Hold on. Let me fix one thing. Okay. We are Pushin P. There we go. Perfect. For the most part, this is not a good year for hit songs. I don't think. So hopefully by the end of the year, when I do this video again, we have some more hits that I actually think are high quality. But as of right now, this is not a good year for popular music. So hopefully things turn around. Hopefully there's a big drop with a bunch of hit songs on it. But as of right now, I'm not crazy about most of the songs we listened to this year. So yeah, that's that. Hopefully things change, but as of right now, I'm not big on the popular music this year. But in the more underground, there's some really good albums that dropped this year. So yeah.